Okay, loves, I am back to demo the 139 template for the backdrop, and I was able to bring the image into Remove BG. It did clean it up quite well, so I'm going to go ahead and download that 20. And let's go ahead and get ready to pull it in. I think we said we were going to use it for square logo number 2. We'll go ahead and drag and drop it right onto the artboard here. And because it was done with Remove BG, it preserves the background area. We don't need all of that. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just rasterize this. That way when I do my Control T, it is just the active pixels and not all the extra background. Now if you want to make sure it's centered about the background, then select the background and select the image, and then go ahead and align it with the center vertically and horizontally, and it'll move accordingly. And let's turn off any logo that we don't need. Alright, so now our 20s are in there. Let's say the first one was what we were going to do with our logo, and we did clean up our logo, so let's go ahead and drag it in. There we go, and I'm just going to pull it in just a little bit because I'm probably going to add like a little drop shadow or something to it. And if you do any shadows, then you'll definitely want to make sure that you come in from the outside, otherwise it'll cut off those shadows. Now what I was telling you before, let's say this is not aligned properly and you want to change that, so select the layer that you want to align with the background, hold down Control, select the background, and then you can center it vertically and horizontally, and there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and add a little drop shadow here. And bring down the opacity just a little bit, and if we have a white background or any color background, it should kind of pop off just a little bit. Now when I close out of this, I'm going to hit yes to save the smart object. There we go. Now we have our logo, we have our 20, and I think we said we're going to put LHS in this other area, so that would be, I'm going to close out all of these folders and save as I'm going, because I didn't save and it did have to recover once I shut down, so at least I had something more recent than my last save, but that is not a guarantee. Alright. Let's go to this one, I think is square logo number 3. We'll double click on that one. Turn off the existing one, and this one we're going to type the LHS text. And we'll just keep it simple because any high school you can pretty much use the initials. So I'm using my text tool here, and let's just put LHS. And I'm going to intentionally offset it so that we can make sure that it does set off properly. And I don't have any of my styles on this computer, so basically we're going to have to make up a style. So let's go with, in the 20, I think because The 20 is in gold. I might make it silver to go more with the colors of the school, but we'll figure that out in just a moment. So what I'll do is, let me go ahead and open up I'm going to drag and drop this one in here just so we can kind of maybe mimic this style. So let's do a gradient overlay. And like I said, we're going to mimic this here. And we're going to have the gradient go, instead of 0 degrees, we'll have it go 90, so it'll go up and down. And then let's create a new gradient, because this one doesn't have my metallics in it. So I'm going to start with, let's start with this color here at the bottom. Then we'll go to this color next. Then let's choose this color and maybe this brighter color. And what we're doing is we're using an existing image to create a color palette that allows us to kind of make our own gradient. Now if I click on an existing color, then click somewhere else, it duplicates that color. So I think I'm happy with that. I'll go ahead and create that as a new layer here. And, or I'm sorry, a new gradient here. And then I'm going to create one more gradient that's going to be a little more deeper tones. So that one, this one, that's probably the highlight of it. Alright, so we're just mimicking that a little bit, and we'll probably use that more as an outline. So we have the gradient overlay. Oh, I forgot to save that. Save as a new. So gradient overlay is going to be the lighter gold. Then let's do a stroke. Make it a little thicker. And then we'll do a gradient for the stroke. And let's choose our darker gradient here. Maybe even change the angle up a little bit, just slightly. Let's add another stroke that is slightly thicker than the previous one. I think we'll stick with the darker gradient for the second outline and the lighter gradient for the first one. Go ahead and put a bevel emboss on there, so hopefully we can get it to looking a little more 3D. And then for this one, instead of just the regular linear, I'm going to do reflected so that it repeats that gold over and over. Well, it just repeats it twice. That's what reflected does. Just gives us more of those gradations. And maybe we will do a little bit of a drop shadow. And then I'm going to delete the gold because I was just doing that so that we would have a reference there. That's it. So we just created our own little gold there. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so my shadows don't run off the edge. And then of course I want to recolor this. So let's do, on top of that gradient overlay, I'm going to do a color overlay. first color overlay that I'm going to do is going to be a gray, and I'm going to choose the blend mode as color. And this is just so that I can see how it recolors. And technically I should have just created a silver overlay first, which should not be that hard to do. So I'm going to create a different one here. And what I'm going to do is just double click, select the gray that kind of corresponds to that gold. And then that way I can recolor it gold or any color that I want. In this case, we're going to do a maroon. And y'all won't have to do this. It'll already be in the template for you. So now that I have that gradient, let me go on and save it. And it is reflected. So then that way when I do a color overlay, if I choose a red or any other color, it will apply on top. I'm going to drag my logo in so I can pull the logo color in. Oops, I gotta be out of here first. And that's just so that I can pick the color from there. So I'll go to my LHS, let's do the color overlay. Grab that burgundy color, and it's not really coloring it the way that I want. So I'm gonna have to change the blend mode to probably multiply. Yeah, I think multiply is good. And then I need a little bit of lighter areas. Same thing with the stroke here. Instead of the gold stroke, I'm going to go with the silver, and then I'll just recolor it with the exact same stroke on top. If I wanted it to be gold, then I would cover it with a color, choose the blend mode as multiply, and then I would choose like a gold. So for the stroke, I'm also going to choose, instead of linear, I'm going to choose reflected, so I get more variation there. And I'll do the same thing for this back color here. I'll have to replace it with grays, of course. So that one, I'm going to replace with a really dark gray. And of course I'm just making up my own gradient here. I could take my time and do this a little bit better and end up with a more metallic look, but I'm just showing you how I go through that process. I could also open up one of my templates that has a metallic look and just copy and paste the layer style to make it simpler. And this is supposed to be a darker version anyhow. so whatever color you choose there should recolor that. Alright, so in this case we want it to be silver. So I'm going to take off my recolor. I just want to make sure that works for you all. I can delete my image now because I have my color selected from it. And as far as the font, I'll do the Academic M54. Alright, now all I'm doing at this point is just kind of making it to where the H might be a little bit bigger than the L and the S, just to give it a little bit of dimension here. This is not necessary. I'm just going above and beyond. You know me. Alright, so definitely have to fit this on the artboard. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and align these by the horizontal center there. That should work out. Kind of makes it look a little like an intertwined logo, but all together I'm going to group that, Control T, transforming it just to make sure that it fits well in here. And this might be one of those ones you want to rotate, so I'm going to see what it looks like rotated. Because it's rectangular, I'm going to rotate it and see if it kind of breaks that up a little bit. And it may very well look better straight across, but at least we get to see what that looks like. Alright, so moment of truth. Let's update the smart object, see what it looks like. There we have it. And then my 20, I told y'all that 20, I didn't really like it in gold. So I'm just going to do a black and white adjustment layer, and it'll turn it silver. If I want to take those yellows or golds and make them lighter or brighter, I can absolutely come over here to my yellows, make it look like a nice bright shiny silver. And let's update that. Alright, so that is a version of the step and repeat with the 3 logos. Let's see what it looks like. Let me turn that off. There we go. That's with the 3. Let's see what it looks like with the 2. We have to disable this layer mask. Okay, so here the secondary logo is the rectangle logo. So you may even want to put the name of the school or anything that you wanted to put for the rectangle. You can do that if you only wanted 2 images. And then of course for the single image, let's go ahead and disable that layer mask. And you would have to turn off the rectangular logo, make it invisible, update that smart object, and there you have your step and repeat with just 1 logo. Alright, one more thing I was going to do for you all. Oh, I don't know. We'll have to check on those links, love. I definitely, if you having bad links, let me know. And that's one of the things that I'm going to be updating soon, my affiliate links and the Facebook links and all that stuff that is in the description of the video. So please let me know if they are malfunctioning so I know to go ahead and update that. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and do a, I'm going to look for a vector grunge background from my free pick. Let me log in. Then that way we just have a little something in the background, because of course we can turn on any color and we can make this any color that we want. But I want to add just a little bit of interest to the background there. I like this one. Alright, so hopefully, because this is a vector file and it opens up Illustrator, hopefully we don't have the same little crashing issue. So let me go ahead and save what I'm working on. But if we do have that issue, that's really all that you have to be able to do. So for homework, all I want y'all to do is just come with it with, let me turn that off. So for the two logos, of course, I would have to reactivate my second logo. I just want you to come with three logos, or alternatively you could type in text for one of these logos. So that's your 2 logo, and then that's your 3. And let's say you didn't want your LHS to be rotated like that, of course you can have it go in the standard direction, and that's saved as well in here. So that would be square logo number 3. Let's see what it looks like without the rotation. Oh, and let me make sure it's centered here. There we go, and see how it moved it? It automatically centered it for me. Right, so see how sometimes just twisting, or I mean maybe even turning the 20 could give it a little more visual interest there. Alright, so pray for me now. We're going to open up Illustrator with the streaming and the Photoshop open. Alright, and what we're opening up right now is just like a kind of grungy background that we're going to add to it. And I just want to make sure that it's going to look good and that we'll be able to change the colors. Oh, dang, it's doing the same thing it was doing before. It's thinking. Let me leave it alone. I don't know why it's taking so long to think about copying and pasting something from Illustrator. And it may, like I said, it may very well be because this is a really large, this is a 10-foot by 8-foot file that it's only at 150 DPI instead of 300, but that's still a very, very large file, just so you know. There you go. So it let me drag and drop it, but it was doing something funky when I was trying to copy and paste. But we're just going to be grateful that it let me bring it in at all. There we go. And I think what I'll do here is just only include this initial image because we have a true background layer here. So let me double click, open that up. All I want to select is the gold. So anything else, I'm going to select the inverse and just delete it. Now this is Illustrator, so I'm not really trying to get y'all on Illustrator, but I do want to let you know that the programs can connect and communicate with one another. So that is technically an Illustrator or a vector element that's inside of Photoshop. Okay, and now we should be able to turn on the background layer. That'll be your background color, and then we will make a solid color here as well. Let's create a clipping mask. And maybe you just even want a darker version of that color. Actually, I like that color. And for the black, you would be able to change it to whatever color you like. That gray looks good too. I'm just going to go ahead and change this vector image to like a grayscale color, so if you ever choose a different blend mode, it won't be competing with that yellow back there. And we'll select everything, go ahead and change it to a gray tone. Alright, I might choose a little bit different background because I'm not crazy about this one, but it works. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. Just so that you don't have an exactly flat background there. And we can turn it off altogether and just do our solid color there as well. And like I said, if you want to be able to press this without having to do large format printing, then you would definitely want to make sure it just has a plain old white background, or take the background off in general. And what you would do is you would print each of these logos out about 8 inches. And let's check, because I think before I was double checking to make sure it was 8 inches, and I think I have to go back and change my preferences to my units and rulers to inches. So my ruler should be inches, so say okay. Yep, so now I'm under 8 inches. So I'm 7.96 inches, which is right under 8 inches for the width and 7 inches for the height for that particular logo. And none of yours should be over 8 inches by 8 inches, even if you use up the entire square. So that means you should be able to print this on an 8 by 11 sheet, or get a couple of them to, not necessarily for an 8x14. You can make your logos a little bit smaller and get 2 to an 8x14 and just space them out the same way. Alright, so I think all I have to do now is just close those up. And then we have it to where we can activate. And I want to show you this. So now that I have my different logos in here, I need to change this layer mask. So I will delete that layer mask, create a new one. And then I will just go in for this particular one. Let's say I wanted to move the Innate a little bit higher. Then I would come in with my lasso. You can do polygon lasso, is probably easiest. And just click around to what I want to be hidden. Double click to close it up. I'm on my white reveal all layer and I want to conceal this parts that I currently have selected. So I can grab my paint bucket tool and fill this up, or I can change the, oops, I keep doing it on this layer. I'm lying, it's not that layer, it's this layer. There we go. So basically I'm just hiding anything that is behind this layer mask, or behind these marching ants, as the layer mask for the 3 logos. So you'll be able to do that too, and that's going to teach you a little something about hiding and revealing things, especially when you have layers that you don't want looking like they're touching. Alright, so I'm going to Control D to deselect. So let's say Innate Academy had these 3 sponsors, or that's how it can look. These 3 logos could represent the same exact company or event, or they can represent totally different companies that might be sponsoring a single event. But either way it goes, you have your 1 logo, 2 logo, and 3 logo setup. And that's it, folks. Alright, so let me go ahead and save this and get this uploaded because we're going to have some fun. So I want you all to make sure that you have your 3 images already cut out. Use Remove BG if you need to cut out the background. But you can do any project you can think of. If it's an anniversary, maybe you want to have a photo for one of your images. If it's a birthday, maybe you want to have a photo for one of your images. If it is let's say a football game, then maybe you want to have the, you might not be using the 20, maybe you'll be using the year that it is, 2022 or whatever. Just get creative with what logos, just present with 3 of them, because I'm going to show you the most complicated process. It's going to be 3 logos, and then we'll break it down and do the 2 and the single logo. And then that way you'll have some understanding of how this process works for designing a step and repeat. And hopefully you appreciate all the work that went into the groundwork of creating the template, and you'll use it. Just use it. That's all I ask y'all to do. Just use it. Okay, let's say I think I'm going to look for a better version of background. Maybe I'll do a watercolor or something. I'm not happy with that. It doesn't look good to me. It's stressing me out. Let's see here. I think we can do better. I think I will do maybe a little watercolor. Let me see how that looks before I let y'all go. I'll let you help me decide. Alright, and this is a JPEG. So this is going to be huge when I bring it in, but let's see. I think I'm going to like this better. And I'll still make it to where it can recolor the image for you. Let's go ahead and lock in that transformation. I'm going to turn off this vector, take this color fill, and bring it above, and then let's do a different blend mode. Let's do we'll do color or hue. And then I'm going to do a black and white adjustment layer on top of it. And because it had some blues in there, I want to kind of get a little bit of that texture stronger. And then that way when we do the color fill, I'm going to try an extreme color. Let's go with our curves. There we go. And now instead of color, let's do multiply. Here we go. So we can get a single color here and change that color. School color, boom. The silver color, boom. Even if we want to go like a gold or something. There we have it. I think I like that much better. So I'm going to delete that. Keep this. And then that way I have some options there. Yeah, I like that. So let me save as I'm going. Like I said, this is going to be a rather large file, so make sure you can download it and open it before we start the Zoom session tonight. And then I will go ahead and make sure that we have this uploaded for tonight. Alright, love, so if y'all want to stick around while I do this little mock-up, you are welcome to, as long as my connection stays on. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. I'm going to look for a banner stand image. And it really doesn't even matter if it's white. I just need for you to clearly see that it is a banner stand. Alright, that one looks like a large enough image. Let's save it. And other things that you can use step and repeat for, it does not have to be a actual step and repeat backdrop. You might want to do like a baby blanket. Let's go with like a folded baby blanket. And really and truly, I should be mocking this up a little bit different. And we can also show it on a t-shirt as well. So let me see if I can find a baby blanket that I can easily just mock up really quickly. I want a nice, cute folded one. That might work right there. Like a microfiber. So we have a blanket, we have a backdrop, and then of course within the mock-up we already have a t-shirt. So let me go to, let's see, what do we do for 138? So I usually just take my last mock-up and use it for you. Now we are not, well, I don't know, we may have time for this one to do the mock-up in class. We shall see. If everybody comes with their images already cut out, ready to go, then we should absolutely be able to do the mock-up in class. But if that does not happen and people need help with the images, then we won't be able to do the mock-up in class. Alright, so this is 138 mock-up. I'm going to go ahead and save this 139 mock-up. Right, and we'll go ahead and get rid of the tumblers. We'll keep the shirts, and then we'll go ahead and get these images prepped that we're going to bring in for 139. So we have that towel, and I'm curious to see if remove BG is going to remove the background from not the towel, but the blanket. But you could imagine this as a towel too. Excellent job cutting that out. See the same thing for the banner. Perfect. Let's go ahead and download each of these. Now this is going to be an 8x8, but of course if you're doing an 8x10 it would be more extended. Alright, so let's go ahead and pull these up. So we'll have a blanket and banner stand. Now go ahead and bring both the blanket and banner stand, drag and drop it from my file. Oh, I think I brought the wrong one in. That's not the remove BG version. I think neither one of these are. Did I save them? Oh, I did. It's just not showing me a preview. Alright, so banner stand. And then this will be the blanket. Here's 1 and 2. And of course we have, you know, perspective is off a little bit. Shadows are going to be different with all these different products. However, we'll make it work. So I'm going to turn off this back t-shirt. We're going to keep our banner there. Matter of fact, the banner, I'm going to group and create a group called banner. So the banner stand will kind of act right there. The blanket, let's turn the visibility on for it. Let's say the blanket, and pull that down just a little bit, just to show that you can sublimate a blanket with the same type of idea. And the shirt, that was our 13 by 19 shirt. Let's go ahead and do, oh, I think this one will work for the all over as well. So let's see, we have this as a backdrop, and I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and do the backdrop for the Academy. And let's just do, instead of the 3 logo, let's do the 2 logo. And then for the 2 logo, we have the square and the rectangle. So for the square, I'm going to go and turn back on the true colors. There we go. And for this one, it is the 2 logo. Let's go ahead and turn on the mask there. And for the background, instead of this color fill, let me see what happens if I do a gradient. Y'all know how I feel about gradients. Oh, that actually does look really good from the bottom up. I am going to move this one here. Oops. And then instead of linear, let's do angle, and the blend mode, let's play with which one we might like. Darken, multiply. I think I like multiply so far. Lighten gives a little bit of a pastel look to it. Color is cool, but color is not quite as intense as I want it to be. So I'm actually going to do 2. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'll do multiply, but I will also do color, and then multiply. I'm going to just reduce the opacity for. There it goes. Let's see, for this one, let's do the 3. Nope, because I'm going to save that one for the high school. So we'll do the 2. Let's do, I'm going to export because this thing is going to be huge, and I'm going to do save for web. I don't want to have a really huge file just for my mock-up. So when I do an export save for web, it's going to do a smaller version of the file. And it's even taking it forever to even allow me to change the image size here. But I'm just going to make it 2000 pixels in the widest direction once it allows me to do that. So we may not be able to do this live because some of you, whenever you do your Zoom session, it's going to eat up a lot of resources with the Photoshop, and this part right here might take a little bit of time. Yeah, this is taking forever for it to even think about reducing it because this is a huge file. Corey, I wish you could just clone my brain. I don't know if you want that though, because this brain doesn't turn off, and sometimes that's a problem too. Alright, so see how long it took just to tell me that I can reduce that down. I'm going to reduce it to 2000 pixels and just save it basically as a dumbed down version of the graphic because I'm just using this for mock-up. Now if I were going to print this, I would do File, Save As, and save it as the exact pixel size, the exact dimension. But what I'm doing right now is just doing this as a mock-up. Alright, and so this is 2 logos. So I'll put a 2 at the end of that one. Alright, and for the next one, I'm going to turn off the Innate Academy. And let's do the 3-up logo. Let's turn off the 2. And then, of course, we'll have to disable that layer mask. And let's go back into our logo number 1. Square logo number 1, and we'll turn on our mascot now. Say yes to update. Alright, now for this one what we'll do is we'll turn off the colorful layers there. We'll end up with just this basic grunge background. Or will we? Let me see, let me do a gradient here. And remember I told you I liked how it looked from the ground up. Let's do that. And then I want to change my blend mode to darken or multiply. Let's see. Oh, that one's cool. Color burn. But color burn kind of gives me a weird pinkish color there. So I'll go with linear burn. This gives a little bit of color from the ground up, so then that way if people are standing in front of it, you see the majority of the image up here, but it just adds a little visual interest at the bottom. Y'all know I just can't do anything regular. So let's go ahead and do export for web is on this one as well. It's going to take a little while, so just give it its time. And it's already 6, so like I told y'all, when I prepare for these classes, and I thought this one was going to be a quick one to, you know, prepare for, and it really was. I was able to get it done in pretty much half a day. But usually when I do our classes and prep and templates and all that stuff, it takes me a good old, you know, $8 8 hours of prep time. So we're doing good right now. And my goal is that it is a resource for you, so that if it takes me 8 hours to prepare something as a template, then that saves you probably somewhere around, you know, 64 hours of time, you know, figuring it out and trying to develop the template. And then we can focus on execution. We can focus on how you can use this for your business. We can focus on how we can modify it for something that you need. That's what I like to spend time with you all doing. So yes, I'll show you every now and then how I'm building things from the ground up, but I'm not only am I not expecting you to do that, that's not the focus of what I want you to do. Now, some of the folks who are already advanced in Photoshop who just want to see the process, so it gives them ideas of how to build from the ground up, absolutely. That's, you know, that's what this is for. So this is our 3 logo. So I kind of give you the best of, and I can't say of both worlds, because I show you how to just straight up edit templates, how to use advanced techniques with the templates, how to design from scratch, and then also how to just resource something that you may not want to do from scratch. Finding those resources, that's a really important thing to learn as well. So I am going to show you all my resource when we're in class. I'll show you my resource. If we have time, I'll even show you how to set up the account for the resource that I have for printing. I mean, and this is for all types of business materials. So we're going to get into some really cool stuff like the suede business cards. If you want to do hang tags that have like some really unique properties to them, they even have the wooden cards, the metal cards, all of that kind of stuff. We can get into how to make your business brand stand out and also your customers. Alright, so we did the 3. Let's go ahead and do the 1 now. And for the 1, we're going to go to our rectangle logo. Turn that one off. And let's see, what logo can we use for our square 1 now? Let's do, oh, you know what? Let's do another 3. And then that way I can do the new slingers bling in. And we'll do our true. Or we'll do our academy. That's what we'll do. So let me take the one from the rectangle. I'm going to put in the square, and I'm going to show you that it's not going to fit best in the square, so we're going to have to resize it. So sometimes it will come in handy to do the rectangular one. So I'm going to turn it sideways so we can get it as big as we can in there because it's square. Don't want my shadow hanging off. And that way you can see what that looks like. So we have the academy on there. Don't need to save that. Do need to save this. And then maybe I'll do an advanced one where we do more than 3 logos. But for the most part, you'll probably very rarely be doing more than 3 logos. So that was 1. Let's do square 2. Alright, so this one we'll put new blinger slinging on. Teresa, the bling and the letters, we have quite a few templates that have that in it. I can't think at the moment, but if you go on the Innate Lab site and just type in the word bling, more than likely it's in the title somewhere. There are so many templates that have that bling in it, I can't call them out right now. But yes, that and maybe we can do that as a class too, to kind of show you how to use those layer styles. Alright, so I think we have to do 3 now. We'll turn off the LHS, bring on the SoPro. There we go. So all of these technically are all blinging. You guys see that? I'm going to go ahead and let's see what happens if we just leave that one white. Do I like my grayscale? On that gray it looks really good. Maybe I'll lighten up the gray just a little. It kind of makes me feel like it's on a fancy wall or something. Then I'm kind of losing my SoPro a little bit. Right now I'm just doing a little drop shadow to all the logos, seeing what makes it stand out more. And honestly, I think it just stands out more on the lighter background. Alright, so I'll do this one straight up on white. So let's do export, save for web. Let me just give it a little moment here. Now we're talking about, if all over pressing this, sublimation is definitely going to be a huge hassle, especially when you're talking about overlapping areas and several different areas. So my suggestion would be to just send this to an offset printer. So Corey, I'm going to give you my source for that, so that if you want to do it like as an 8x8 banner, or even like a 8x6 or a 7x6, basically you're going to be paying more the bigger you want this to be. Get it down to 2000. And I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now the other thing is, if you want these logos to appear larger, then you don't have to go with the smaller layout. You can actually go ahead and save it, you know, save it as a JPEG, make it larger so that the logos appear more sizable, and we can do it that way too. Alright, so save. Alright, and just to give you an idea of what that looks like, you can take your 3 logos, duplicate that group, then merge it. And I'm going to turn off the existing 3 logos, and I can say, hey, what does this particular layout look like, just oversized? And so now I have the same layout, but my logos are bigger. So if I were standing in front of this and I wanted to see Soap Pro Academy bigger, then I would be able to visualize that. There you go. Yeah, if you look up the word bling, or I think it has the baby in the title too, but just look up the word bling and you'll find several templates that have like just bling to them. And really, I should have kind of played, I should have maybe played with the angle here, make sure they were the same angle, but I think it looks good. We can rock with it. So that's it. If it were smaller, we zoom in a little bit, and then if we wanted to go with the bigger version of it, there we go. Alright, so let me go ahead and save this file for y'all. Make sure I turn back on these little layers y'all might want on. There's your pastel there. Somebody said they like the pastel better. I'll leave that on. And we're going to start with the most complicated, which is the 3 logo. Alright. And let me go ahead and change these on back to the original logos. Rectangle. Turn that on. Square logo 1. Turn that back to true. And logo 2 is good with the DB, and then logo 3 should be good as well. All right. All right, so I'm saving this. This is going to be ready to go, and now I'm going to show you how to do the mock-up. Let's go ahead and place for the t-shirt here. I'll double click on that, and this is just a 13 by 19, so I'm going to get rid of that one. That's your all over version. So let's go ahead and replace that image. Now keep in mind that what we did for this class is going to be a different size than our normal 36 by 44. So when we bring it in, we want to just scale it accordingly. And now we get to see this as a shirt. Oh, we have to also right click and flatten the image, and then we can save it. And give it a little time to update. Let me go ahead and make sure that I save our big file. Alright, so we have that one updated. Now let's do the actual banner here. We'll drag and drop that onto the artboard. Bring it right on top of our banner. Now if you notice, the banner itself is, number one, a little bit larger than we need as far as the width. So I'm going to get it to where we're able to cover this, but we're going to end up doing something funky to it because it's not just going to fit here. So as a matter of fact, I think this was a 6 by 6. What I'm going to do is just create a 6 by 6 smart layer by choosing a square, holding down shift, and making this about the size of that banner there. Okay, now that that's a rectangle, I'm going to call this, or usually it's 8 by 8, right? So let's right click and let's convert that to a smart object, so that when I double click on it, then I'm going to bring my image on top of that. Right, now I'm going to say yes to update that. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to change the orientation and also kind of skew this a little bit. So I'm going to go to edit. Right, first, make sure I'm on my move tool. Control T. Bringing this in just a little bit as far as size goes. Turn off my blanket. And turn that off for a moment. And what we're doing essentially is covering up this existing banner. Alright, so let's go to edit, transform. Let's see which I can do perspective, but I think I can get away with distort just to make this simple. Perspective can be a little more difficult to work with. And I'm just making sure I stay with the angles of this banner stand. And if I can do that, I can convince you that this is pretty much on here. There we go. And last thing I'll do is right click and create a clip and match, just in case I have anything hanging outside of the banner stand area. It now kind of fits on there. And I feel like I have a little bit too much coming over here, so I'm going to do that one more time. Transform, distort. And make sure I give myself that full width of the pole there so it looks convincing. Oh, okay. There we go. Alright, I think that's good enough. Sometimes we try to be a little a little too exact. Alright, so you have a banner, and then let's try the blanket now. Blanket, let's grab the white, and we shall create a clipping mask, and then we'll make sure that this blend mode is on multiply, so it looks like it's on the blanket. Let's do Control T. I'm going to transform that, make it a little bit bigger so we can see our beautiful logos there. And then to be a little more realistic, of course you would not see it along or past the edge of the blanket there. So you would need to create a clipping mask for this. So on the blanket, let's turn off the bullet points for a second. So everything would kind of be colored except for maybe like the underside of this blanket. And you'd be able to see this better if you actually recolored it with maybe this one temporarily. And then of course we would have to flatten the image in order to make that work. Yeah, you know what? I think we just leave it alone, because if I try to just clean that little edge up, it will probably be more work than I need it to be just for this mock-up. So you do see how it mocks up with the color, and then I'm going to go back now and change that to the black and white. I'm going to change it to the white background one. Right click and flatten the image. And now we'll see the fibers through the white part. Alright, so now you get the idea that that same type of image can be used for different substrates. Let's bring back our bullet points and let's say what we are going to do with this one. We're going to create your own step and repeat. And for this one, some of the things that you're doing, this one isn't a smart color change because it's just one layer that changes color. So I'll just put that we're going to do a color change for the background. Of course, you get the free template. We're not worrying about coloring the changing the color values. What we're going to do is do 1, 2, or 3 logos. Alright. So these are smart logos. So you only have to update one of each instance and it will update the remainder, and you'll get the free mock-up and you can absolutely add your own images. I think that works. Let's change it from 138 to 139, of course. And just so our colors stand out from the last one, let's go blue to yellow. So y'all will get this mock-up file too. Alright, so now we can go ahead and save this. I'll upload this. This is the icon that you will see for this course. I do save these for web because otherwise, when you're designing your website and you have these really large images for no reason, because web is only going to show 72 pixels per inch anyway, you won't have to worry about weighing down your website. Alright, and let me see, for this blanket, I think I need a little drop shadow. It just stands out a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and group these as blankets. So you'll have your blanket, your banner, and a shirt. Let me go ahead and save that for y'all. Go ahead and get ready to upload this so we can have some fun tonight. I might get a little bit of a break between posting this up for you all and starting class tonight, but class is only going to be 2 hours. I'm doing my best to make sure that I do all the work on the back end so that we can have concise classes, that you remember what you did and you have fun and you have a final project by the end of class. So keep in mind, we'll do class from 8 to 10, and any of the business partners, if we need to have a discussion, we'll do a quick discussion after class today if y'all are available. Alright, so let me go ahead and upload this for you all. It will be on the Academy, and I'm not going to stay online while I upload it because I usually mess something up when I do that. So I'll go ahead and get this ready for you all, and I'll check in with you very soon. Alright, loves, I appreciate y'all. Love you dearly. Thank you for coming back even after the crash, and until next time, bye.